I've never been a fan of watching the news. Usually, if the news anchors aren't being overreactively dramatic about weather or sports, they're reporting on depressing things like car crashes, animal abuse, and child abuse. When I find none of this is entertaining, and I typically flip the channel to an episode of South Park. Just recently, a news report caught my attention during a ritual of channel surfing. It was as if the anchorman hadn't praised it just right. I probably wouldn't be alive right now. I caught the tail end of a news segment just before the commercial break, and the anchorman Ross Cooper said, "Coming up, find out what local residents are starting to call a miracle." On our own, Dan Aaron reports live on the showing of growing phenomenon happening in our city. Right after the break, stay tuned, line like that was to keep me hooked. So I chose to sit through seemingly the endless string of commercials. As usual, you had your movie trailers, store advertisements, and those drug commercials that always show people frolicking in the middle like a narrator lists the unpleasant side effects. Commercials always last too long, but I feel that it's worth listening to a potentially exciting news story. When the news returned, the face of Ross Cooper looked very worried as he reported that there was a breaking news story, and the reporter Dan Aaron was on the scene. The camera cut to Dan, sitting inside of a darkened home with several other people peering outside of the window. It's impossible to see what was happening outside, but shouts and screams could be heard in the background. I'm reporting from a deep home in the heart of Los Angeles, where survivors have been taken refugee. The miracle is that people have been talking about is false. To everyone in the area watching this, do not go outside. If you hear people calling your name, do not listen to them. Dan started looking like he was panicked and nearly about to break into tears. Showing concern, Ross asked him what exactly was going on. Earlier today, there was a giant flash of light that looked like a portal was opening up from the sky, and then some of these things came in. I don't know what they are, but they're not human, and they intended to kill us all. Extermination has already begun. Dan shrieked, trying his best to keep his cool on the live TV. Something inside of me said this was all a prank, but I had to keep watching. "Now calm down, Dan. Can you describe these attackers to our viewers?" Ross asked, staying professional. "Well, a man in our group described them as shapeshifters, and I believe that's an accurate description. None of us here have seen their true form, but their appearances seem to have changed multiple times, completely at random. When none of these things look at you, it's like it can see into your mind, all the thoughts and memories, and he uses it against you. These beings will take the form of your friends and family, and even those you've passed on. They will mimic their speech exactly how you remembered it, and then they'll beckon you to come outside with them. That's when they get you, and then their victims die. Their bodies vaporize from this eerie light that shines with their eyes and mouth, and then when you hear what they really sound like, it's horrible. I've seen so many people die today, Ross, and there's nothing left of any of them." Dan had completely lost his mind now and was trembling into a sobbing into the camera. "Dan, do you feel safe where you are now?" Ross asked. "I don't fucking know," Dan snapped back. His sadness turned into rage suddenly. "The group that I'm with has guns, and the doors are bolted, but we have no idea what those beings are capable of. I don't even know if they're aliens or demons, but their numbers are growing by the minute, and I think LA will soon be overrun. Everyone with me is in a bad mental state right now. We can hear our loved ones calling to us, begging us to go out and see them. I just saw my great-grandmother moments ago, and I want to run to her, but I can't. This seems like the end of times, and I'm sure this is happening elsewhere, that the human race may be wiped out. But if we could just hang on and not let our emotions cloud our judgment, we will survive long enough to help arrive. Call the military, call everyone you can. We can't let these creatures win," Dan exclaimed, right before the signal started to die. The last thing I remember him saying was, "Oh God, I think we got a few inside," before he faded out, and a shocked Ross Cooper announced the station will be going off the air. The emergency broadcast signal started seconds later, and I just sat there on the couch in silence. I don't know if I should call anyone I knew or wait to see if this epidemic would even affect my area. I felt the sudden need to look outside, and just so I did so, I saw all of the people. My old gym teacher, Mr. Moores, who had just mentored me into helping become the athlete I am today. He called me, reminded me of how long it's been since we last spoke. Of course, I knew it wasn't really him, and I had not watched the news report when I did. I would have gone out and talked to him, only to meet an agonizing death. Behind him, approaching him in the distance, was a mob of these invaders that were marching through my neighborhood. That's the last time I glanced outside. I sit now in a locked, dark basement, with only the glow of this computer screen. All the doors of my house have been locked, and all the lights that would attract the attention are out. I think the mob has bypassed my house. I can't hear anyone else calling my name. I've just heard screams of terror from my own neighbors, and I think they are dead. It's very quiet now. I have already warned everyone so I can think to stay indoors. I'm sure I'll think of more people for the night goes on, but for now I'm just going to focus on getting this story out. I know the military will act. I'm sure they'll be out here any minute to get whatever under control. But if not, I will have enough supplies to hopefully last a month or two at most. After being consistent research online, I am certain now this is a global phenomenon. Videos started to appear on YouTube, shot by the people who have barricaded themselves in their homes or public places, and these videos are to feature footage of mobs, like the ones I saw not too long ago. One particular video comes from as far away as Tokyo, Japan. The video has already 1 million views, and the comment section, several people claim to have seen their own relatives in the mob, and that was being filmed by a man from the 4th floor of his apartment building. I checked it out for myself, and sure enough, all the way from Japan, I saw my grandfather, my uncle, and my stepmother marching through the streets. They seemed to be staring at me right through the computer screen. Videos like this are proof of what I'm dealing with, a force far beyond our understanding. What exactly are they? How did they get in here? Hopefully we could survive long enough to find out these answers. If I make it through the night, I promise to constantly update my tale of these catastrophic events. My name is Regan Myers of Los Angeles, California. I am a witness to the beginning of a new era.